Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me again and again and again on another week of valuable information. I wanted to take this week to kind of talk to you guys about upfront costs, funds that you guys need to either save, plan for, ask for, whatever that looks like for you to be able to buy a house, right? There's a few terms that we're going to talk about. You're going to see in a contract here in Texas often, more than not. So I just want you guys to understand them because they're very similar, but definitely very separate and different, okay? All right, now let's get started. So we're going to talk about, the first thing is called earnest money, right? So earnest money, think of this as good faith money, right? For you to showcase to the seller, hey, when I saw this house, I loved it. I submitted the offer, I still loved it. For me to show you that I love it, once we get on the contract, I'm gonna send my earnest money, the funds that I told you on the contract, to the title company to show that I'm serious, okay? Now, example, right? When you're married, when you're dating a guy, you're dating a girl, and you guys been together for a long time, you start talking about, hey, when are you proposing to me, right? Because you want this person to, show you in a material form, not to be a shadow, that you want, you want something to signify our relationship, right? So the same way goes with a seller, right, and a buyer. For you to showcase, hey, I'm serious about this property. Once you get under contract, you're asked to send this money within 3 days to the title company so the seller can say, you know what, Jose, you were very serious about the property. You said you were in the contract, and now that we're, on the contract, you send the money, so thank you for that, right? You're just sending the money to title, right? So they can hold that in there for you. So by the time we close, those funds are gonna be turned. It's gonna be a full circle, okay? You're gonna deposit it to title, and it's gonna go in a circle, and it's gonna go to your it's gonna be applied towards your closing costs, okay? Earnest money is applied towards closing costs. If you don't want it to be towards closing costs, you can let the lender know, and you guys can figure that out. But that's your money, okay? So just to show good faith and that you're serious about what you said in the contract, okay? Now, there's something called option money. Oh my God. Option money causes so much controversy. It's insane because Texas does things a little bit different than every other state. Okay, now, let's say we get on the house today, right, Jose? We got on the house today. Tomorrow, you want me to hire a licensed inspector and, for him to go out there and assess the house. Go in the crawl space, go in the attic, check the plumbing, check the electricity. For us to conduct all those inspections, we have to send the seller good faith money, right? You need to send him in funds in exchange for the time, okay? In Texas, you gotta give funds in exchange for the time, okay? So you're basically giving the seller money so that he can let us go in there tomorrow and conduct an inspection for up to 5 days, right? So during this option period, you're negotiating repairs, you're negotiating credit, you're negotiating warranty, you're negotiating a lot of things. So this time is very, very crucial for us to all be in communication and make sure we're on the same page. All right, now what does this look like for money-wise? I've seen option money be $75 a day, be $100 a day, $150. It's all about where the market is and then how much you want this house, like honestly, and how much you could afford, right? No harm, no foul. I don't want you to break the budget, so let's negotiate a good amount that you're comfortable with and that you're willing to lose if in the event you decide, so this house is not for me. It has a lot of foundation issues, and I don't want to deal with that. I want out. In Texas, you can walk away from the contract during that option period, okay, during those 5-7 days that you negotiated. However, you don't get your option money back, but you do get your earnest money back if you cancel the contract during the option period, okay? Now, if you say, you know what, I love this house and I want to move forward with the house, and we get to the closing table, you will get your option money back and you will get your earnest money back. Okay, so two things is different: earnest money and option. Our earnest is showing good faith that, hey, I'm a woman of my word and here's my money to prove it. Option money is, hey, I am a woman of my word and I also want to make sure this house is everything I saw it to be. and I want to make sure that I'm walking into something that's good and you know, it's functional, and there's no leaks or any cracks or anything that I didn't notice and I didn't ask you to fix, okay? All right, now we're talking about home inspection and termite inspection. Now, in the state of Texas, the seller does not pay for any of those inspections, okay? I say in Texas because I get a lot of, well, over here and over there, like in Texas, these folks do not pay for those inspections. It's your cost, right? It's out-of-pocket cost. So home inspection varies in price. I would say prepare for $300 to $375, maybe $400 for an inspection. This gentleman or this gal will do an inspection of your house and then give us a report. So for us to negotiate repairs or any findings with the seller, okay? Now, a termite inspection could be about $7,500 or $150. It all depends. It depends on the inspector and everything like that, but we want to make sure that the house has no termites. Termites are little bugs that live in wood, right? So sometimes you could walk around the house and you may not see it, right? But if they go in the crawl space, you could see, you know, if it has beams, you could see termite on there, or finding that they were there before and then just residue or whatever. I highly recommend for you guys to do both inspections because you just don't know what you're walking into that we may not see behind the walls. Okay, so now we're talking about earnest money of $1,000. We're talking about option money of possibly being $75 a day. Like I said, all these things are negotiable. I just want you guys to give you an average amount so you guys can start preparing. All right, great. Now, these last two things are optional to a buyer, right, in the state of Texas. So in Texas, by default, the title policy and the survey is a seller's expense, okay? Now, let's break down these two things. A survey is a one-piece document that you get at the closing table with it has a drawing of your house, right? It's like a rectangular form of your house, and it has little lines, right? And it basically showcases where your property starts and where your property ends. So if you wanted to extend your fence, you can do so by knowing where with your survey where your property ends, so then you can extend it and you're not impeding somebody else's space and property, okay? If you wanted to add a pool, they're going to ask you for the survey so you can also see from in the backyard where your property starts and ends, and you can kind of make sure that, you know, you do it properly so that you don't waste your money and time. Okay, that document costs about, I would say, $450 to $700 depending on the square footage, the acreage of the house, all those things, to make sure that, you know, you need that survey before you close. So especially as a VA buyer, you need that. So it's a seller's expense, but if you wanted to put your offer a little bit more like attractive and, you know, you really want to put your best foot forward, I highly recommend taking on that charge. You may not need to pay for a new one. They might have one on file more than now they do, but it's just in case the title company doesn't approve what we have on file, that, you know, we'll have to order a new survey. Okay, so just keep that in mind. About $450, I would say, to $700 depending on the house. But I've never seen that $700. I've seen it with acreage being a little bit more expensive, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, a title policy is similar to like Kelley Blue Book, right? So when you find a car and you go to Dallas because you see this buddy and he's selling this car or whatever, you want to make sure that the car didn't have any accidents, you know, the no is still in good standing, all that stuff. So you go through Kelley Blue Book to make sure that you're buying something that, you know, it's not gonna haunt you at the end, right? Nobody's gonna come and try to take it back from you, or you know that the car doesn't have any structural damages, right? So with a title policy, it's usually a seller's expense, but you're buying a house this time, okay? So the terms and the issues could be different. So let's say that a seller didn't pay for a pool that was installed, right? He faulted on his payments. You know, that could be a mechanical lien on the property. You know, you want to make sure that when you buy this house, everything's in good standing, so you're not walking into any defaults of payments anywhere, right? So the title company, their job is to screen the deed, right? Make sure that there's no cloud, there's no lien on the property, and you're walking into something that you understand and you see it and it's kind of clean, right? So that title policy usually is about $1,100 to $2,000. It all depends on the property of the house, okay? It could be less, it could be more, all depends. But like I said, this is a seller's expense by default, but you can take that on, or you can take either one of those on before you close, right? Say, you know, I'll take the title policy, I'll cover that, don't worry about it, and you put that on the offer, and then at the closing table, with your closing costs, you cover that, okay? These are tips that I want you guys to consider. I want you guys to think about. I want you guys to save your money, please, because once we get on the contract, these are things that you're gonna start dishing out, right? So things you're gonna need up front is earnest money, option money, and then money for the home inspection and the termite inspection, okay? These are your things as a buyer, okay? As a seller, it's gonna be title, it's gonna be survey, any other things I'll discuss in another video for you guys. But if you are a buyer and want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, I would highly encourage you guys to consider taking on all those charges. You can talk to your lender and see what that looks like for you guys. But I just want to make sure that you are, you know, you're trained and you're educated and you're going for a fight, okay? Because regardless, you know, you always want to make sure that you know you did your best, okay? So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate you guys so much. Once again, joining me, supporting me. Please subscribe down below. Tell your friends, tell your family, share it to your dog, whatever, whomever. I really appreciate you guys supporting, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.